So in this lesson, I want to talk to you about how you can use reading to build your vocabulary and build your vocabulary effectively. That's coming up. Hey everyone, my name is Wes. This is Interactive English, the channel that is just all about trying to help you practice and improve your English skills so that you can reach your fluency goals. And today, I want to talk to you about, well, two very important things, and that is reading and vocabulary. And in this case, it's kind of like one hand washes the other, because what I want to talk to you about is telling you how you can use reading to build your vocabulary. Because to be perfectly honest, I think reading is possibly one of the best ways that a learner can build their vocabulary, learn new words, and not only that, remember the meaning of these words. So I want to teach you how you can effectively use reading to build your vocabulary. So I think if you really consider what's going on, it makes perfect sense that you can use reading to learn new words and phrases because, well, when you're reading, you're just constantly looking at words. And I think no matter what it is that you are reading, if you are reading a newspaper or you're reading something online or you're reading a book, I think it's very common that people are going to find words and phrases that they either don't know, or maybe you're a little bit familiar with the meaning, but maybe you've forgotten it. So it's something you've seen before and you maybe just don't remember exactly what it means. So when you find or come across a word that, well, you've never seen before, or maybe you kind of know it, I want to talk to you about what you need to do in order to understand the meaning as well as learn the meaning so that the next time you're reading and you come across that same word or phrase, you feel comfortable, you know what it means, and you can just continue reading. So let's begin with that idea, which is when you're reading and you come across a new vocabulary word, how do you understand the meaning? And I want you to do three very simple things. The first one is just, well, find a new word or phrase, some word or phrase that you just don't know. The next thing I want you to do is look for context clues. And then the third thing, very simple, you're going to use those context clues to guess the meaning. And if you don't know what context clues are, they are hints that the author may give you to help you better understand an unknown or unusual word or phrase. Now, these hints, these context clues, may be in the same sentence as the unknown vocabulary word. Or these clues may come in the sentence before or in the sentence after. You may need to reread the sentence before, the sentence after, because that's going to help you better understand the situation. It's going to help you better understand the context. And when you understand the context, then you can make an appropriate guess as to what the meaning of this vocabulary word is. Let's practice. Let me give you some examples, and I'm going to show you a sentence with an unknown word. And I want you to look for some context clues and look for these clues to help you make a guess, an educated guess about what the meaning of the unknown word is. So let's look at the first one. He tried to catch his breath for a moment before attempting the arduous climb up the peak of the mountain. So let's just say that arduous is a word that you don't know. You're not familiar with this word and you don't know what it means. But you can use some context clues to help you take a guess as to what the meaning is. So do you see any context clues in there? I see two of them. The first one that I would say is that somebody's trying to catch their breath. And what that means is somebody's breathing heavily. And they're probably breathing heavily. They're trying to catch their breath because they've been climbing up a steep mountain, which makes me think that this is challenging. And then they're getting ready to go up the peak of the mountain. They're going to climb the peak of the mountain, which is the very top. So probably it's not going to get any easier when you go up to the top of the mountain. So I can use these context clues to take a guess that the meaning of arduous is something that's difficult. So you're saying that the climb up the mountain is a difficult one. It's challenging. It's arduous. Here's another example. I'm always so busy with work, taking care of the kids, and running errands throughout the day. Whenever I have some downtime, I just like to relax with a good book. So perhaps you don't know what the word downtime means, and this is more of an informal expression, but you can use some context clues to help you determine the meaning. So there is a context clue in the sentence before, and I would say that context clue is so busy. Somebody is talking about all these things that they have to do during the day: work, taking care of the kids, running errands. And then there's another context clue after the word, which is relax. It's talking about the way that this person relaxed. So in that case, since you understand the context, you can guess that downtime is talking about a time when someone just relaxes and they are not active and not really trying to do much of anything. And I think we all need to get a little downtime every now and then. It's good. In my downtime, I kind of like to just watch, well, maybe some TV. I watch some shows on Netflix. That's what I do in my downtime. And let's do one more, okay? And I could say, the woman was flabbergasted. How did her bed end up in the pool? In this case, perhaps you don't know what flabbergasted means. So you can use some context clues to help you understand the meaning and take a guess. So the context clue would be her bed is in the pool. All right. So I want you to put that picture in your mind and picture that a bed is in the pool, and you're probably thinking, well, that's a little strange. That's not normal. I would be very surprised if I found my bed in the pool. So I can guess that the word flabbergasted means surprise. Somebody is surprised, they're flabbergasted by something they see, or perhaps by something that a person says. Now that you've just read those sentences, we've talked about the context clues, and you now know the meaning of arduous, downtime, and flabbergasted. Hopefully the next time that you come across one of those words, you will remember the meaning and you have a better understanding, because chances are the more that you read, you will come across the same word again and again, and that is a good thing. Repetition is your friend. The more you get exposed to a word or phrase, the more times that you see it, the more likely you are to remember the meaning. And that's what I want to talk to you about now, is how can you effectively learn the meaning of these words so that the next time you read them, you just know the meaning and you can continue on reading. My first suggestion is to start a vocabulary list. You can use a notebook, or you can use your computer. You can use a document. And when you come across a new vocabulary word, write it down on your list, and then write down the meaning as well, because it's always good to review. If you want to effectively build your vocabulary, repetition is your friend. The more that you are exposed to a word, the more likely you are to remember the meaning. So start a vocabulary list. That is going to help you remember all the new words and phrases that you find when you're reading. The next suggestion that I have for you is to read books, read stories. And the reason why I would tell you to read stories is because you are more likely to come across the same word again and again throughout the story. Let me give you a couple examples. Before I read the Harry Potter series, I had an English learner ask me, they said, what does it mean if someone is nonplussed? And this is an adjective that means somebody is, well, they're surprised, they're confused, they're unsure how to react. And the reason why they were asking me this is because they kept coming across that word throughout the story. Then a couple of years go by and I end up reading the Harry Potter series. I read all the books, and yes, I noticed that. I noticed every time that J.K. Rowling used the word nonplussed. That is a good example of finding a word that you don't know. You could write that in your vocabulary list, but then as you continue reading the story, you come across it again and again and again. And as I told you, repetition is your friend. And by the end of the Harry Potter series, I guarantee you are going to remember what it means if someone is nonplussed. Another example would be, well, in my own experience learning Spanish, because when I was learning Spanish, I was constantly reading because I was using it to build my vocabulary. And one of the stories that I read was by Isabel Allende, who is a famous author from Chile. And she wrote these stories for kind of teenagers and young adults. But one of the stories, called City of the Beast, La Ciudad de las Bestias, it took place in the Amazon rainforest. And as I started the story, I came across the word cascada. And at first, I wasn't sure. I had never seen this word before, because when I was studying or taking classes, it just never came up. So I put the word in context, and I kind of guessed that, okay, it had something to do with water. And based on the situation, I guessed that it was a waterfall. I came across the word again, and this time I did. I looked it up because I wanted to make sure that my guess was correct. And yes, cascada means waterfall. And then I continued reading, and because the story takes place in the Amazon rainforest, I kept reading this word again and again and again. And she used it throughout the story. But by the end, I had read this word so many times. I was very familiar with it. I was comfortable with it. And I was then able to put this word in my active memory. And then over even a longer period of time, I put it in my long-term memory so that whenever I'm reading and I come across this word, I just easily understand it, or even when I hear it in conversation, I know the meaning of this word. So I hope that I have encouraged you to read more in English and use reading in order to build your vocabulary. And let's put this into practice right now. If you feel like sharing in the comments below, let me know of a word that you have learned when you were reading. I always love to hear from you guys. Sharing is caring. Let me know when you have used reading to build your vocabulary. If you enjoyed this lesson, please hit that like button. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.